Before you seek revenge, dig 2 graves. Revenge feels good in theory, doesn't it? That quick spark in your chest that says, they'll regret losing me. But my friends, here's the truth. Most people who go chasing revenge end up burying themselves first. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Because while they're busy trying to destroy the person who hurt them, they don't notice the quiet destruction happening inside their own soul. What we're about to talk about isn't just another get over your ex story. It's a map, a stoic path out of the fire that heartbreak leaves behind. Now, imagine this. You're standing in front of a house that used to be your heart. Every room is filled with laughter, trust, and dreams. One day, someone walks in, lights a match, and walks away without looking back. Flames rise, the walls crumble, and you're standing there holding a bucket of anger, ready to throw it back at them. But here's the problem. Their house isn't burning. Yours is. And every time you replay that betrayal, every time you think about getting even, you pour more gasoline on your own fire. You see, the world teaches us a dangerous lie. That revenge equals strength. That payback equals closure. That if they hurt you, the only way to balance the scales is to make them hurt too. But that's not strength, my friends. That's bondage. That's your peace chained to their mistakes. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And I know, it sounds noble, but it's also incredibly practical. Because when you try to hurt them, you're still letting them define your behavior. They broke your heart once. Don't hand them the keys to your peace too. You don't win by reacting. You win by rebuilding. You don't get even by fighting back. You get ahead by rising above. Every ounce of energy you spend thinking about revenge is energy stolen from your healing, your growth, your new chapter. Why let someone who walked out of your life keep living in your head rent-free? That's like leaving the door unlocked for the very thief who robbed you last time. Let me tell you something funny, but true. When you stop caring, when you stop reacting, life starts working like karma's little assistant. Suddenly, they're sitting there wondering why you're not angry anymore, why you're not chasing, not begging, not exploding. And that silence, oh, that silence is louder than any scream. It haunts them because the ego feeds on reaction, and when you give it nothing, no words, no emotion, it starves. So instead of plotting their downfall, plot your comeback. Use that same fire they lit inside you, not to burn, but to build. Turn heartbreak into a gym. Let your discipline be your revenge, your peace, your victory, your silence, your message. Because peace isn't weakness, it's power that's learned self-control. And once you master that, nothing they do can touch you again. My friends, the Stoics understood something timeless. You can't control what happens to you, but you can always control what happens within you. You're not here to prove them wrong. You're here to prove yourself right, to rise, to rebuild, to move forward so quietly and powerfully that your evolution becomes the one thing they can never escape. So remember this, when someone breaks your heart, they don't destroy you. They reveal you. They expose the strength you didn't know you had. They push you toward the version of yourself that's been waiting to rise. Type this in the comments right now. My peace is my revenge. And if you're ready to stop burning for closure and start building your power, press that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because what comes next might just change the way you see heartbreak forever. Number 1. The ancient whisper of revenge. An eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. Mahatma Gandhi. When someone breaks their heart, the first instinct that rises inside them isn't peace. It's fury dressed as justice. It's that raw, ancient whisper that says, Make them feel what they made you feel. It's primal, older than logic, older than restraint. It comes from that deep, wounded part of human nature that still believes balance must be restored through pain. They replay the betrayal over and over again, the lies, the silence, the moments when they begged to be understood and got dismissed instead, and that whisper grows louder. They have to pay. But my friends, that voice isn't strength. It's suffering pretending to be power. It's fear wearing the mask of control. They think that if they hurt the one who hurt them, the ache in their chest will finally fade. Yet what they don't see is that revenge is a boomerang. It always circles back and hits harder than it lands. The Stoics knew this long before psychology gave it language. When you act in anger, you're acting as your enemy's apprentice. Imagine this. They're standing in front of a mirror, holding a handful of shards. Each shard is a memory, sharp and glinting with pain. Every time they grip tighter, every time they think, "I'll show them," the glass cuts deeper into their own palm. That's what revenge does. It tricks them into thinking they're holding a weapon when in reality they're bleeding from the inside. They might ask themselves, but why shouldn't they pay for what they did? Why should I be the only one hurting? Because the truth, my friends, is they already are paying. They just don't know it yet. Every action rooted in cruelty carries a debt. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but life always collects its balance. The Stoic doesn't rush that process. He trusts it. He knows that silence and time expose everything that words and anger try to hide. Still, it's hard to believe that when the wound is fresh, isn't it? When they see that person laughing on social media, posting like nothing happened, it feels unfair. It feels infuriating. It feels like injustice dressed as peace. But that's the illusion, that laughter, that pretending. It's not peace, it's performance. And if they fall for it, they become the audience to someone else's theater. Epictetus once said, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." He didn't mean blame yourself. He meant reclaim yourself. The moment they focus on their own evolution, they take back the energy that pain once controlled. Because revenge feeds on attention. The less they give it, the weaker it becomes. Now let's be honest. Letting go feels unnatural at first. The ego screams that forgiveness is weakness, that silence is surrender, that walking away means they got away with it. But here's the lie. They didn't get away with anything. They lost access to a version of them that loved deeply, trusted fully, gave sincerely. And that loss will echo long after the noise fades. Their absence is its own kind of justice. You know what really takes courage? Not revenge, not rage, it's restraint. It's looking at the fire in your chest and saying, "I'll use you, but I won't be used by you." Because anger uncontrolled burns, anger understood forges. The Stoic doesn't fight the flame, he channels it. He turns that energy into discipline, into progress, into quiet power. That's why they seem untouchable, because while others burn themselves out chasing retribution, he's already building his next empire in silence. They might fear that if they don't fight back, they'll look weak. But that's only because they've been taught that loudness equals strength. It doesn't. A lion doesn't need to roar at mice. Stillness, calm, silence, those are the languages of true power. They're terrifying to the ones who thrive on chaos because they reveal who's really in control. So when that urge to prove themselves rises, remind them, nothing proves strength like self-control. Nothing confuses an enemy more than peace, and nothing haunts the guilty like a man who doesn't react. Because silence is not emptiness. It's exposure. It's the mirror that forces them to see what they tried to ignore. They might stumble. They might slip into anger again. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. Every time they choose calm over chaos, every time they resist that urge to lash out, they're building the muscle of mastery. And soon, that mastery becomes unshakable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the truth revenge hides from them. The real battlefield isn't out there, it's inside. The fight isn't against them, it's against their own impulses. And when they win that battle, no betrayal can touch them again. So let them laugh. Let them pretend they've moved on. While they chase validation, they'll build value. While they post illusions, they'll cultivate reality. While they waste energy trying to look happy, they'll become happy. And that difference, that quiet, grounded peace, will speak for itself louder than revenge ever could. So remember this, my friends. The ones who hurt them will expect anger, they'll expect chaos. But when they see calm, when they see stillness, that's when fear sets in, because now they know they can no longer control them. Rise above it, let them wander, let life do its job, and use that energy to rebuild something so strong, so peaceful, that when they see them again, all they can feel is regret. Write this in the comments right now. I rise above the fire. Show them, show yourself, show the world around you that you're not here to burn, you're here to build, and stay with me, because what's coming next will show exactly how to turn that fire into unstoppable strength. Number 2, the lie they want you to believe. Revenge is the easiest response, but wisdom is the rarest one. The world has taught them a lie since they were young, that revenge is power, that payback is victory, that proving someone wrong is the ultimate justice. It sounds heroic in movies, looks poetic in songs, and feels satisfying in daydreams. But my friends, in real life, revenge is just recycled pain dressed up as control. It doesn't free them, it keeps them locked in the same emotional cage their enemy built. Think about it. When someone breaks their heart, the world expects rage. It expects noise. It expects them to show strength by striking back. But true strength doesn't perform, it transforms. Real power doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself in silence, in calmness, in the refusal to play small games. Imagine this, they're walking through a burning forest, holding a torch of anger. The person who betrayed them already ran off, untouched by the flames, but there they are, holding on to the fire, convincing themselves it's light when it's really destroying what's left of their peace. That's what revenge does. It tricks them into believing they're walking toward victory when they're actually circling back to pain. And yet they still ask themselves, but why shouldn't I? Why should they get away with it? Here's why. Because revenge keeps them tied to what they're trying to escape. Every act of retaliation is an invisible thread pulling them back to the same emotional battlefield. They might win the fight, but they'll lose the war inside their mind. Seneca said, "He who seeks revenge keeps his wounds open." Think about that. Every time they plot how to make someone feel what they felt, they're reopening the cut. They're bleeding energy into the past instead of investing it into their future. That's not justice, it's self-destruction with good marketing. The lie of revenge is seductive because it gives the illusion of control. It feels like action in a moment where they feel powerless. But that's the trap. They're not reclaiming control, they're reacting. And a reactive person is always being controlled by something or someone else. Here's the harder truth most people won't tell them. Revenge doesn't change the person who hurt them. It changes them. It turns the wounded into the wounding. It transforms the victim into a reflection of what they despise. Before they know it, they start speaking with the same tone, using the same manipulation, wearing the same mask of indifference. And suddenly, They're the one carrying the energy that once broke them. It's not that the desire for revenge is evil, it's human, it's natural to want balance. But the Stoic knows that balance isn't achieved by taking an eye for an eye. It's achieved by taking back the mind, by mastering the emotions before they master them. That's why revenge feels good for a moment, but empties them in the long run, because temporary satisfaction can't replace long-term peace. They might think, but if I don't react, won't that make me weak? No, my friends, it makes them untouchable. Weakness is letting someone pull them out of character. Weakness is letting someone's betrayal decide their next move. Strength is smiling when others expect rage. Strength is walking away when their ego screams, "Prove them wrong." Strength is choosing self-control in a world that worships reactivity. Picture this. They're standing in a storm. Thunder cracks, wind howls, everything inside them wants to scream back. But instead, they stay still, and slowly the storm runs out of energy trying to move them. That's what real power looks like. It's not louder than chaos, it's calmer than chaos. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." It's not about being morally superior, it's about being strategically unshakable. Because when they refuse to play the same game, the opponent has no board left. When they stop explaining, stop proving, stop reacting, the one who once had power over them fades into irrelevance. That's how peace wins wars. And yes, it will be difficult at first. Every instinct will tell them to react. Every part of their pride will demand payback. But remember, revenge is a short-term satisfaction that costs long-term peace. And peace, my friends, is not passive. It's the ultimate flex. It's saying, you couldn't destroy me. You only refined me. Let them laugh. Let them mock. Let them underestimate. Their silence will speak longer than their noise ever could. Their growth will echo louder than their anger. And one day, when those who hurt them look back and see how much they've evolved, they won't feel victorious. They'll feel small, because nothing humbles the ego like realizing the one you tried to break built an empire out of the ashes. So don't fall for the lie. Don't chase revenge. Don't waste their peace trying to make someone else uncomfortable. Rise above it. Smile at the storm. Walk through the fire, knowing that every step away from chaos is a step closer to mastery. Write this in the comments right now. I choose peace over payback. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that revenge is for the reactive, but peace is for the powerful. And stay with me, because what comes next will show you how to take that power and turn it into unstoppable calm. Number 3. The fire within you is not the enemy. The fire that warms you can also burn you. It depends on how you hold it. My friends, let's be honest. When their heart is shattered, when betrayal strikes like lightning out of a clear sky, the fire inside them feels unbearable. It's not just sadness, it's chaos. It's anger, confusion, disbelief, and pride all colliding at once. They can feel it pulsing in their chest, crawling under their skin. That urge to say something, to post something, to make them see what they've done. It's real, it's powerful, it's human. But here's the truth most people never hear. That fire isn't the enemy. It's the rawest form of energy they'll ever have. The question isn't how to extinguish it. The question is how to use it. Imagine for a moment that fire lives inside every man who's ever been broken. It starts small, a spark of betrayal. Then it spreads, fueled by what-ifs and unanswered messages. If they let it burn wild, it consumes everything: peace, focus, dignity, sleep. They become the wildfire that destroys its own forest. But if they learn to contain it, to build structure around it, that same flame can heat the forge. It can turn pain into power, heartbreak into heat, and heat into discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacle isn't there to stop them, it's there to shape them. The heartbreak wasn't sent to destroy them, it was sent to awaken something ancient in them. The fire is not punishment, it's preparation. But most people run from it. They drown it in distractions, in scrolling, in other people, in noise. They do anything to avoid sitting in that heat, because the fire reveals truth. It burns away illusions. It shows who really cared and who was pretending. It strips them down to what's real. That's why it's so uncomfortable, because it exposes everything they've been hiding behind. The Stoic doesn't run. He stands there and watches the flames, not with fear, but with understanding. He studies the fire until he realizes it's his teacher, because pain, when studied, becomes wisdom. Uncontrolled, it's destruction. Controlled, it's transformation. Think of a blacksmith. When he places raw steel in the forge, it doesn't scream, it doesn't resist, it lets the fire shape it. The heat bends it, hammers it, strengthens it. That's what heartbreak does for them. Every ounce of pain is reshaping their spirit into something sharper, stronger, steadier, but only if they stop fighting the fire and start mastering it. They might ask, but how do I control it? How do I stop feeling so angry? The answer isn't to stop feeling, it's to stop reacting. There's a difference. Feeling is natural. It's part of being human. Reacting is giving those feelings the steering wheel. The Stoic feels deeply, but acts deliberately. He knows every emotion is just energy waiting for direction. Instead of shouting, he trains. Instead of chasing, he builds. Instead of overthinking, he studies. Every push-up, every page read, every quiet moment of self-control becomes a statement. I'm not a prisoner of emotion anymore. The fire doesn't rule him. He rules the fire. Now, it won't be easy. Their mind will whisper that they're weak for not exploding. Their ego will tell them silence means surrender. But those are lies born from habit. The truth is, when they control the fire starts to serve them. Their focus sharpens, their body strengthens, their thoughts clear. Suddenly, what once felt like heartbreak begins to feel like momentum. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And that's the secret right there. The fire can't burn them unless they step into it without awareness. It's not the heat that destroys, it's the panic. The man who stands still in the fire learns how to move through it without getting consumed. So when they feel that burning in their chest, that urge to lash out or break something, they should pause. Take a breath, feel it fully. That's not weakness, it's mastery. It's the discipline of someone who refuses to let pain dictate his behavior. Because every second they resist the urge to react, the fire gets quieter, calmer, more refined. The same energy that once made them want to scream can make them unstoppable if redirected. The same pain that once broke them can become the reason they never break again. That's the paradox of the Stoic fire. It purifies what chaos once polluted. Think of it like this. Gold doesn't fear the furnace. It knows heat reveals purity. So when life puts them through the flames, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What's being revealed?" Because the answer to that question is where their evolution begins. My friends, the fire within them is not there to punish. It's there to promote. It's not there to remind them of who hurt them. It's there to remind them of who they could become if they stop running. That's the moment they stop being victims of heartbreak and start being students of it. And here's the part no one tells them. Once they master the fire, they become magnetic. People feel it in their presence. That calm intensity, that silent power, that unshakable focus that says, "I've walked through my own flames, and I came out forged." That's the kind of energy that changes rooms, conversations, and futures. So stop fearing the fire. Don't waste energy trying to extinguish it. Use it. Train with it. Let it sculpt the best version of who they are, because the fire within them is not chaos. It's the birthplace of power. Type this in the comments right now. I master my fire. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you're not running from the flames anymore. You're rising through them. And stay with me, because next we'll go deeper into how to sit with that fire without letting it consume your peace. That's where real strength begins. Number 4. Sit with the fire, don't feed it. If you can stay calm while everything inside you is burning, you've already won. My friends, when the storm hits, when their chest feels heavy and their mind spins like a carousel they can't get off, the hardest thing in the world isn't moving on, it's sitting still. Every instinct screams, do something. Text them, block them, post something, prove something, anything to escape that restless burn inside. But here's the truth. The fire doesn't need more fuel. It needs understanding. The Stoic doesn't run from pain. He studies it. He doesn't drown it with noise. He listens to what it's trying to teach. Because every emotion is a messenger, and anger just happens to shout the loudest. When they try to silence it with distractions, it doesn't disappear. It just waits. And the moment they're alone again, it returns, louder and heavier. That's why they must learn to sit with the fire without feeding it. Imagine sitting by a campfire. The flames dance, the wood crackles, and the warmth feels almost comforting. But if they keep throwing sticks into it, old memories, old screenshots, imaginary arguments, it doesn't stay warm. It roars into something wild, uncontrollable, destructive. That's exactly what happens when they feed their heartbreak with overthinking, when they replay the betrayal, when they scroll through what's gone, when they stalk their past instead of building their future. They're not healing, they're fueling. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The Stoic knows that the battlefield isn't out there, it's inside. The enemy isn't their ex. It's their attachment to the idea of how things should have been. It's the illusion that peace will come only when someone else feels what they felt. That's a lie. Peace doesn't arrive through their suffering. It arrives when they stop handing out free rent in their mind to people who already moved out. It's not easy, of course. Sitting with pain feels like sitting in a room filled with smoke, waiting for air that doesn't come. Their brain will tell them to run. Their ego will beg for distraction. And their emotions will scream that silence means surrender. But sitting still doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the hardest thing possible, feeling without reacting. Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation." In other words, the pain isn't in what happened. It's in how they continue to interpret it. If they want to master life, they must first master the conversation happening inside their own mind. Here's what most people never realize. Heartbreak isn't chaos. It's clarity disguised as pain. It's life saying, look closely. Something you thought was real wasn't. But instead of learning from it, people panic. They react. They try to rebuild the illusion. They chase closure from the same person who broke them and wonder why peace never comes. The Stoic doesn't do that. He lets truth burn everything false, then walks forward lighter. Let's be honest, sitting with the fire feels unfair at first. They'll think, why do I have to suffer while they're fine? But that's only because they can't yet see what's happening beneath the surface. The one who sits with pain grows roots. The one who runs from pain grows illusions. In time, the still one becomes solid. the runner remains hollow. Stillness may look weak to the untrained eye, but it's the posture of someone who's quietly evolving. Imagine again the blacksmith forging steel. He doesn't yank the metal out too early just because it's hot. He knows it must stay in the fire until it bends the right way. That's them right now. Every tear, every silent night, every urge they resist, it's reshaping them. It's teaching patience, detachment, self-control. They're not breaking down, they're being reforged. And yes, they'll be tempted. The mind will say, text them, prove you don't care. The heart will whisper, show them what they lost. But here's the thing. If they have to show it, they haven't become it yet. True strength doesn't need an audience. It radiates quietly. And that quiet confidence, that emotional stillness, is what starts to terrify the very people who once thought they could control them. So when the fire burns, don't throw more wood into it. Don't feed it stories. Don't feed it what-ifs. Just breathe. Watch the flame. Name what you feel. This is anger. This is sadness. This is loss. By naming it, they disarm it. Because what they can observe, they can master. Soon, something changes. The flames that once screamed for revenge start to soften. The same emotions that once broke them now sit beside them like old teachers. And they realize something extraordinary. They don't need to escape the fire anymore because they've become the calm inside it. That's when silence becomes strength. That's when heartbreak becomes transformation. That's when peace stops being a goal and starts being their natural state. So don't rush the process. Don't curse the heat. Sit with it. Let it carve patience into their soul. Because one day, they'll look back and realize the very fire they feared was the forge that built them. Write this in the comments right now. I sit with my fire. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that you don't run from pain anymore. You learn from it. And stay with me, because what's coming next will show exactly how to rebuild yourself from the ashes that pain leaves behind. That's where your real power begins. Number 5. Build, don't burn. Do not waste your suffering. Turn it into structure. My friends, there comes a moment after the heartbreak when the storm quiets. But not because the pain is gone. It's because the body is tired, the mind is raw, and the heart doesn't know whether to rage or rest. This is the crossroad where most people lose themselves. They either burn in bitterness or build through discipline. The difference between staying broken and becoming unbreakable begins right here. See, destruction is easy. It takes no strength to react, to lash out, to drown the pain in temporary highs, anger, validation, distractions. But it takes power, real power, to look at the ashes of what they once were and say, I'm going to build again, brick by brick. That's the Stoic path. That's what separates those who crumble from those who rise. Imagine this. They're standing in the ruins of a city that once represented their heart. The walls are cracked, the memories lie like dust on the ground, and all that's left is silence. They could stand there, cursing the one who caused the collapse, or they could pick up a stone and start rebuilding. Not the old city, the new one. One that's stronger, clearer, protected by boundaries instead of illusions. That's how the Stoic rebuilds after heartbreak, not by pretending it didn't hurt, but by turning that hurt into architecture. They build routines where there used to be chaos. They build boundaries where there used to be begging. They build silence where there used to be noise. Every habit becomes a brick. Every repetition becomes mortar. And soon, discipline becomes the structure that keeps them steady when life shakes again. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one in heartbreak That means stop talking about revenge, stop wishing they'd understand, stop seeking closure from the same hands that broke the connection. Just become the version of yourself that no longer needs them. Let your progress speak what your pain used to scream. At first, it feels mechanical. They wake up early even though their heart feels heavy. They hit the gym even though their chest aches. They eat better, read, learn, move, focus. At first, it feels forced, but repetition creates rhythm, and rhythm creates stability. Slowly, their body starts to heal faster than their heart, and their mind begins to follow. They realize that consistency doesn't just rebuild muscle, it rebuilds identity. Seneca once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Pain isn't punishment, it's a form of training. Every sleepless night they survive is mental conditioning. Every urge they resist is spiritual strength. Every morning they rise again when it would be easier to stay in bed is them proving to the universe that they're not defined by what broke them. They're defined by what they build next." But here's the part that most people misunderstand. Building doesn't mean suppressing. It means channeling. It means taking that same intensity that once chased love and redirecting it toward purpose. Because heartbreak doesn't destroy energy, it only redirects it. And when that energy finds order, it becomes unstoppable. They'll notice something beautiful happen along the way. The gym won't feel like punishment anymore, it'll feel like prayer. The early mornings won't feel lonely, they'll feel sacred. The quiet won't feel empty, it'll feel full of possibility. That's when they'll understand. Rebuilding isn't about moving on from someone, it's about moving back into yourself. They'll start to feel peace in small moments, finishing what they started, keeping promises to themselves, mastering small habits. The noise in their mind begins to fade, replaced by a subtle kind of pride. Not arrogance, but quiet self-respect. The kind that can't be faked, can't be given, can't be taken away. Here's the truth, my friends. Pain breaks weak structures. If their peace fell apart when someone left, it wasn't peace, it was dependency. The Stoic rebuilds differently. He builds foundations that no human can shake. Discipline, focus, purpose, gratitude. Because you can lose love, but you can't lose principles. You can lose people, but you can't lose growth. And soon, those who hurt them will notice. They'll see the glow in their eyes, the calm in their posture, the unbothered energy that says, "I survived what was meant to destroy me, and I came back stronger." That realization will haunt them far longer than any revenge ever could. Because revenge is loud, but rebuilding is legendary. Revenge says, "Look at me now." Rebuilding says, "You can't reach me now." So build. Don't burn. Don't destroy what's left of you trying to destroy someone else. Take the ashes and turn them into art. Take the silence and turn it into strength. Take the pain and turn it into precision. Because when they master the art of rebuilding, they no longer seek closure, they become closure. Write this in the comments right now. I build myself from pain. Show them, show yourself, show the world around you that what broke you only built you. And stay with me, my friends, because next we're going to talk about the kind of quiet revenge that doesn't need anger or noise. It's called detachment. That's where your true power begins to speak. Number 6, detachment is the real revenge. Sometimes walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom disguised as silence. My friends, they've been told that to win, they have to react. That silence means defeat. That detachment means not caring. But those who truly understand power know this. Detachment isn't coldness, it's control. It's the art of saying, "I feel everything, and I still choose peace." Because revenge is emotional chaos disguised as justice. But detachment is divine strategy. When someone betrays them, their instinct is to make noise, to show they're strong, to prove they're not broken. But strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, "I've outgrown this." Because what can they take from a man who no longer reacts? Nothing. Detachment is the silence that drives the ego insane. Imagine this. They're in a chess game, and their opponent expects them to move in anger, to overreact, to make a mistake out of emotion. But instead, they sit back, calm, unreadable, and watch. The other side starts panicking. They move too fast, make wrong choices, destroy their own advantage, all because they can't handle stillness. That's what happens when they choose detachment. It's not passivity, it's patience. It's psychological warfare played with peace. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." And that's exactly what detachment does. It removes them from the cycle of reaction that keeps most people enslaved. Because reacting keeps them connected to the same chaos they're trying to escape. But detachment, it cuts the cord entirely. Here's the lie the world tells them, that if they don't respond, they look weak. That if they stay silent, they'll be forgotten. But the truth is, silence never makes them invisible. It makes them mysterious. And mystery commands attention far longer than anger ever could. When they detach, they stop explaining, stop proving, stop chasing clarity from unclear people. That's when power begins to shift, quietly, invisibly, but completely. They might wonder, why is it so hard to detach? Why can't I just stop caring? Because caring was never the problem, attachment was. They cared deeply, but they tied their peace to someone else's behavior. Detachment isn't about not caring, it's about caring correctly. It's about saying, "I wish you well, but not at the cost of my well-being." And that takes strength, because their ego will whisper, "They don't deserve peace while you suffer." Their pride will hiss, "They need to know what they lost." But that's just their lower self speaking, the part still seeking validation from the same place that broke them. The Stoic knows better. He knows that walking away isn't retreat, it's advancement. Every step away from drama is a step toward mastery. Detachment doesn't mean indifference, it means emotional intelligence. It's the discipline to say, "I'm not going to participate in energy that drains me." It's the courage to let the storm rage and still not be moved. Because storms can't destroy what's rooted deeply in peace. And that's what detachment gives them. Roots. Picture it like this. A mountain doesn't chase the weather. It lets the clouds come and go. The storms pass, the sun return. Yet it remains, still, silent, unmoved. That's them when they master detachment. The chaos can swirl, the noise can rise, but their calm becomes the thing that commands respect. Because people may not understand stillness, but they always feel it. And here's the irony. The moment they detach, those who hurt them begin to notice. The one who thought they could manipulate them starts to panic when their words no longer sting. The one who expected a reaction starts to feel irrelevant. Their calm becomes confrontation without ever saying a word. Because silence is the mirror no one wants to look into. It reflects guilt, insecurity, and consequence. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." That's what detachment gives, freedom. They no longer wake up checking their phone, no longer feel anxiety over what someone might say, no longer give their peace as payment for closure. They stop needing recognition because they start recognizing themselves. And that right there, that's liberation. But let's be honest, detachment feels lonely at first. They'll sit in their silence and wonder, did I make the right choice? Yes, because the quiet they fear is actually the healing they've been avoiding. It's the moment they meet themselves again, without noise, without influence, without pretense. That silence that once felt empty becomes sacred. It's where they rebuild their confidence, their focus, their emotional independence. Soon, they'll realize something powerful. They don't want revenge anymore. They don't even want them to regret. They just want peace. And that shift, that quiet internal shift, is what separates the ordinary from the unshakable. Because they no longer move out of emotion, they move out of intention. And here's the best part: their detachment doesn't just protect them, it exposes everything false around them. Fake love fades, manipulators flee, drama starves. What remains is truth. That's why detachment is the real revenge. It kills illusions without violence. My friends, when they stop reacting, they stop feeding the game. When they stop explaining, they stop giving power. And when they stop chasing, they start leading. Because detachment is not the absence of care, it's the presence of self-respect. So let them wonder, let them guess, let them feel the silence they once mocked. Because now that silence is their message. It says everything words never could. I'm not who you left. I'm who you built. Write this in the comments right now. My peace is my revenge. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that they can't control what you've already mastered. And stay with me, because next we're going to go even deeper into stillness, where silence becomes power and control becomes presence. That's where the Stoic truly ascends. Number 7. Stillness is power refined. Never respond to a storm. Simply become the sky above it. There comes a point, my friends, when they've mastered silence so well that even the noise tries to imitate it. The fire no longer scares them. The memories no longer shake them. They've stopped burning for revenge and started breathing peace. And yet, this next stage, the stage of stillness, feels different. It's quieter, heavier, sacred, because stillness isn't emptiness, it's authority. It's the point where reaction dies and presence is born. Stillness is misunderstood. Most people think it means doing nothing, but in truth, it's doing everything that matters, internally. It's the art of being so grounded that no one's chaos can pull them off center. Stillness is the moment a man realizes he doesn't have to chase power anymore because he is power. Imagine the ocean in a storm. The waves crash violently on the surface, wind howling, thunder roaring, but miles below, it's calm, unmoved, eternal. That's stillness. That's the power the Stoic cultivates. Not the shallow noise of control, but the deep silence of composure. Because anyone can act calm when life is peaceful, but only the wise stay calm in chaos. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea still falls around it." That's what stillness looks like in real life. Someone tests their patience, insults them, betrays them, mocks them, and they don't flinch. They don't defend themselves. They don't explain. They just watch, quiet as stone, letting truth reveal itself. And that silence becomes more powerful than any speech could ever be. But let's be honest, staying still when provoked feels unnatural at first. The ego will fight it. It will whisper, "Say something. Prove you're right. Show them you're unbothered." That's not peace. That's pride wearing new clothes. True stillness doesn't need to prove. It knows. It understands that silence is not the absence of response. It's the presence of restraint. Think about it like this. Every time they react, they trade a piece of their energy for a moment of satisfaction. But every time they stay still, they collect that energy back. They store it. And over time, that stored energy becomes gravity. The kind of presence that makes people pay attention without a single word spoken. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." That's the essence of stillness. It's a delay between stimulus and response, where wisdom has space to step in. Because wisdom never arrives in noise, it arrives in pauses. When they stop rushing to reply, they start hearing the truth beneath the emotion. Picture this. They're in a room where everyone's shouting, defending, arguing, blaming, and they say nothing. They just breathe, and suddenly everyone starts lowering their voices. That's the invisible authority of stillness. It shifts the energy of the entire room. Because people sense it, it unsettles them. Chaos doesn't know how to fight calm, and that's why stillness is feared by manipulators. They can't pull strings that don't move. They can't control someone who doesn't react. The moment they choose not to feed someone's drama, they take back every ounce of power that person once held over them. Their silence becomes the mirror that reveals who the real problem always was. But here's the deeper truth. Stillness isn't just a tactic, it's a lifestyle. It's how they start showing up in every situation. No matter what's said, what's done, who leaves, or who returns, they stay centered. They stop rushing decisions. They stop over-explaining. They start listening more and talking less. Because words can lie, but energy never does. And soon, people start noticing. They'll say things like, "You've changed. You seem different. I can't read you anymore." That's the mark of a man who's mastered his stillness. His peace becomes mysterious. His silence becomes magnetic. He doesn't chase validation anymore. Validation now chases him. They begin to realize that stillness isn't about holding emotion back. It's about holding power back until it's needed. Because the calm man is not harmless. He's disciplined. He's the man who could destroy, but chooses not to. And that kind of restraint terrifies the ego-driven world. Here's the irony, my friends. When they stop trying to control everything, they start controlling themselves. And that's when everything external begins to shift in their favor. Because energy aligns with focus. When their energy stops reacting, it starts creating. Opportunities appear. People respect their boundaries. Peace becomes their natural frequency. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that's what stillness truly is, self-mastery in motionless form. It's the discipline to be the calmest person in the room when chaos erupts. It's the power to say, "I don't need to prove my peace, I live it." They may still feel the tremors inside, the anger, the longing, the thoughts that whisper, "What if I said this?" or "What if I showed them?" But now they'll smile because they'll recognize it for what it is, old energy trying to pull them back into old patterns. They've outgrown reaction, they've entered elevation. So when the world provokes them, when life tests them, when people try to shake them, stay still. Let their silence speak. Let their calmness expose what others try to hide. Because silence isn't surrender, it's dominance executed gracefully. Type this in the comments right now. My stillness speaks for me. Show them, show yourself, show the world that your calm isn't weakness, it's control refined. And stay with me, because next we step into the highest level of this journey, the higher path, where forgiveness becomes freedom and your peace turns into legacy. That's where the Stoic transcends. Number 8. The higher path. Turn pain into legacy. He who learns from pain rises above it. He who clings to it becomes it. My friends, by now they've walked through the fire, they've faced the storm, they've built from ashes, and they've discovered silence isn't weakness, it's dominance. But the final stage, the highest level of transformation, is something few ever reach. It's called the higher path, and it begins the moment they stop trying to win against others and start winning within themselves. The Stoic doesn't live for revenge or validation or control. He lives for mastery over his thoughts, his emotions, his reactions. Because at the end of it all, the one who truly wins is not the one who gets even, it's the one who gets enlightened. Imagine standing at the top of a mountain after years of climbing through heartbreak, betrayal, loss, and silence. The people who once mocked them, doubted them, hurt them, they look small now, far below, shouting into an echo that never reaches the summit. From that height, they realize something profound. None of it was personal. The betrayal, the rejection, the loss, it was all redirection. Every fall was a step toward this view. Every scar was a compass pointing upward. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The higher path is where they finally understand this truth. They stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What did this teach me?" Because wisdom is born when pain turns into perspective. And once they reach that point, revenge feels childish, validation feels cheap, and peace feels priceless. At this level, forgiveness stops being a gift for others and becomes medicine for themselves. Not because the person deserves it, but because their peace does. Holding grudges feels heavy when they've already learned how to fly. The Stoic forgives quietly, not out of weakness, but because he refuses to be emotionally handcuffed to the past. He understands that letting go isn't forgetting, it's releasing the weight that no longer serves his journey. They might wonder, but if I forgive, does that mean what they did was okay? No, my friends. Forgiveness doesn't erase responsibility, it erases residency. It evicts the memory of pain from the space of their peace. It's not about excusing behavior, it's about refusing to live in reaction to it. When they start walking the higher path, everything changes. Their goals shift from proving to improving. Their conversations shift from gossip to growth. Their focus moves from what I lost to what I'm building. That's when life begins to open new doors. Because the universe responds to energy, and when their energy stops clinging to pain, it starts attracting purpose. Seneca once said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." And that's what this final stage is about, self-conquest. It's about standing tall, not because they're undefeated, but because they refuse to stay down. It's about carrying calmness like armor and compassion like a weapon. It's about becoming the kind of man who leads without words, whose presence alone teaches others how to heal. They'll start noticing something incredible. Their peace begins to ripple outward. People around them feel safer, calmer, more grounded. Their silence starts to teach. Their boundaries start to inspire. Their self-respect becomes contagious. That's what a legacy of peace looks like. It's not something they post, it's something they radiate. But make no mistake, the higher path is not crowded. It's quiet, lonely even, because few are willing to give up their pride to gain perspective. The world glorifies noise and confrontation, but the Stoic glorifies restraint and reflection. He walks slower now, speaks softer, listens deeper, because he knows strength doesn't have to shout, it only has to stand. Forgiveness doesn't make them weaker, it makes them wiser. Detachment doesn't make them emotionless, it makes them effective. Stillness doesn't make them passive, it makes them powerful. That's the paradox of the higher path. It turns everything the world misunderstands into a form of divine control. And one day, when they look back, they'll smile, not because it didn't hurt, but because it taught them what no comfort ever could. They'll realize the heartbreak didn't end them. It introduced them to their higher self. The betrayal didn't destroy them. It refined their boundaries. The silence didn't isolate them. It revealed their strength. Every scar became scripture. Every fall became foundation. Every goodbye became growth. That's legacy, my friends. Legacy isn't what they leave behind when they die. It's what they build while they're alive. It's the quiet influence of a man who's found peace in a world that profits from pain. It's the vibration of someone who chooses compassion over control, wisdom over war, serenity over ego. That's what makes a Stoic unforgettable, not his victories, but his vibration. The higher path is where they no longer fight the world. They flow with it. They stop resisting life and start respecting it. They see that everything they lost was just clearing space for everything they were meant to gain. That's enlightenment. That's evolution. That's freedom. So walk that path. Choose wisdom over reaction. Choose forgiveness over vengeance. Choose peace over power, and you'll end up with both. And when people ask, "How did you stay calm after everything you went through?" you'll just smile and say, "Because I learned peace was the only revenge that never ends." Write this in the comments right now. I walk the higher path. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that your strength no longer screams. It shines. And if this message reached your heart, if you felt every word like it was written for your story, then do this right now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this, because peace grows when it's shared. And you, my friends, are the proof that pain doesn't end your story, it refines it. You didn't just survive, you ascended.